They didn't leave behind blood. They didn't leave behind chaos. They didn't even leave behind goodbyes. Just empty rooms, deleted accounts, lives that seemed to shut off mid-sentence. Police call them voluntary disappearances. Families call them impossible, because people don't all vanish the same way, unless someone shows them how. Tonight, we follow the quiet trail of a group that promised enlightenment, and left behind only silence. This is the cult of the vanished. They didn't all disappear at once. That's what makes this story difficult to trace. No single date, no single crime scene, no mass exodus caught on camera. Just people, one by one, slipping out of their former lives. A college student who stopped answering calls. A mother who left behind her car and never returned. A man who told his family he was going somewhere peaceful and then erased himself entirely. Different places, different years, different circumstances. But when investigators began to look closer, a pattern emerged. Not in how they vanished, but where they had been before they did. The group no one noticed. The organization didn't call itself a cult. It never does. On its website, it described itself as a spiritual fellowship, a self-discovery collective, a place for people seeking clarity beyond the noise of the modern world. Its meetings were informal. No uniforms, no compounds, at least not publicly, no visible leader at first glance. Members gathered in rented halls, retreat centers, and private homes. Sometimes weekly, sometimes sporadically. Attendance records were never kept. What was kept, very carefully, was control. The first disappearance. The first known missing member was reported in the late 2000s. Friends said he had been restless, searching, talking about cutting ties and starting clean. He attended several meetings hosted by the group. Then he stopped showing up to work, stopped paying rent, stopped responding to messages. His apartment was untouched. His passport was still inside. His phone left on the nightstand. No goodbye note. No bank activity. No confirmed sightings. At the time, police treated it as a voluntary disappearance. Until it happened again. And again. The language of erasure. Former members described the same shift. At first, the group focuses on connection. Shared meals. Group discussions. Affirmations of belonging. Then comes the language. Words like detachment, release, cleansing, the old self. Family relationships are framed as obstacles, careers as distractions, identity itself as something to be dismantled. Members are encouraged to simplify, to give up possessions, to distance themselves from external voices, including loved ones. Digital footprints go dark. Investigators later noticed something unusual. The missing members didn't just leave physically. They vanished digitally. Social media accounts were deleted within hours of each other. Emails stopped sending. Online activity ceased abruptly. Not gradually, not messily, cleanly. Almost as if someone had walked them through the process, or done it for them. The retreats. The group hosted closed-door retreats. Locations were rarely disclosed publicly. Invitations were private. Transportation was sometimes arranged. Former attendees describe remote settings, forested properties, desert land, mountain facilities far from cell towers. Phones were discouraged, sometimes collected. Participants were told the outside world would pull them backward. Some members never returned. The ones left behind. Families began comparing notes. Different states, different countries, the same group name, loved ones who once shared similar phrases before disappearing. I finally understand. I've been blind. I don't need anything else anymore. Police reports piled up, but jurisdictions didn't connect them. There was no evidence of force, no proof of coercion, no bodies. Legally, adults are allowed to walk away, even when someone else opens the door for them. Inside the inner circle, a former senior member eventually came forward. They described an inner tier, never advertised. Access granted only after months or years of loyalty. Inside that tier, the messaging shifted. Leaving wasn't framed as a choice. It was framed as transcendence. Members were encouraged to shed identity completely. New names were assigned. Past lives labeled dead weight. Some were relocated. Some were given new work within the group. Some were told they had reached the final stage. What that meant, no one agrees. The theory no one can prove. There is no confirmed mass grave. No verified compound hidden on satellite imagery. No financial paper trail large enough to expose a criminal enterprise. And yet, Over 2 dozen individuals remain unaccounted for. No confirmed sightings. No contact. No reappearances. People do leave cults. But statistically, they come back. They resurface. They make mistakes. These people never did. Why it's so hard to stop. The group exploits a legal gray zone. No explicit violence. No forced confinement. No clear hierarchy on paper. Just persuasion, isolation, reframing reality until walking away feels like liberation. By the time families realize what's happening, the trail is already cold. The silence that remains. Today, the group's online presence has changed names. Its language softened. Its history scrubbed. Former meeting spaces deny knowledge. Retreat centers say nothing. And the disappeared remain just that. No confirmation of life. No confirmation of death. Just absence. Final thought. The most dangerous movements aren't always loud. They don't always demand obedience. Sometimes, they simply convince people to erase themselves. And once they do, no one knows where they go. Ambient sound fades to silence.